Good day everyone, I'm Luis Andre G. Auditor from BSC 1-4 and I am here to discuss what is radicalism and identity fusion theory. Let's proceed to radicalism. What is radicalism? Radicalism, from the Latin word radix or root, was a historical political movement within liberalism during the late 18th and early 19th centuries and the precursor to social liberalism. Historically, radicalism emerged in an early form with the French Revolution, and the similar movement is inspired in the other countries. Radicalism, it is the option and behavior of a people who favor extreme exchange, especially in the government, radical political ideas and behavior. It is also the belief or action of people who advocate true or complete political or social reform. As you see in the image, radicalism can destroy our lives. Next is radical theory in criminology. What is radical theory in criminology? Radical criminology is a conflict ideology which bases its perspectives on crime and law in the belief that capitalist societies precipitate and define crime as the owner of the means of production use their power to enact laws that will control the work class and repress threats to the power of the ruling class. And it closely linked to critical criminology Marxist approach to crime that looks in criminality in its full context and specifically consider how the ruling class use further its own interests. Radical theories tend to view criminal laws as an instrument by which the power and influence coerce the poor into patterns of behavior that preserve the status quo. One such view, the so-called peacemaking theory, is based on the premise that violence creates violence. And now, let's proceed to identity fusion theory. What is identity fusion theory? Identity fusion theory is a unique form of alignment with the groups to which the member experience a visceral sense of oneness with the group. The construct relies on the distinction between the personal self. The personal self refers to the characteristic that makes someone a unique individual, while the social self pertains to the characteristic that align the individual group. American fraternity, brother, student council member, and etc. As the one suggests, identity fusion theory involves the union of the personal and social selves. The potency of the personal self and relational ties distinguish identity fusion from other forms of alignment with the groups, such as group identification. In group identification, allegiance to the group member, given the lack of involvement of the personal self and relation ties in identification. It follows that the measure of identity fusion should be more predictors of personally causative pro-group behavior, including the endorsement of extreme behaviors such as for the group. The potency of the personal self and relational ties distinguish identity fusion from other forms of alignment with the groups, such as group identification. In group identification, allegiance to the group member, given the lack of involvement of the personal self and relation ties in identification. It follows that the measure of identity fusion should be more predictors of personally causative pro-group behavior, including the endorsement of extreme behaviors such as for the group. And now, let's proceed to the four principle of identity fusion theory. First, we have agentic personal self principle. When identity fused individual becomes strongly connected and aligned with the group, they are assumed to maintain an active and agentic personal self, even when the social self is activated. Second, identity synergy principle. The fact that the person and the social self can be activated independently. The possibility that they may combine synergistically motivated from group behavior. The third principle in identity fusion theory is relation ties principle. The fusion approach assumes that strongly fused person care not only about their collective ties to the group as an abstract entity, but also their relationships, real or imagined, with other members of the group. And the fourth principle of identity fusion theory is irrevocability principle. The identity fusion approved assume that once developed, fusion will remain stable over time. That's all, and thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy and learn something from my discussion.